One day, I'm hanging out with this guy. We grab some food and then we go back to his hotel room. And he starts messing with me down there, and it's really uncomfortable because I'm wearing shorts and it's just awkward. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this isn't working for me. And he's like, what? Oh my gosh, you ruined my formula. First, I do this, do a little hand up action, and then we warm it up with some kissing, and then we take it to this. And I'm just like, what do you think this is? You think it's just one size fits all? You think you can just have your playbook and it's just gonna work on every woman you meet? I was like, that explains so much. It's interesting because when it comes down to meeting people and connection, it's not necessarily a numbers game. And I've done, I think it was like a job interview in New Jersey where it was a script and there were certain things that this person would say. And he was like, it's a numbers game. With every business you go to, you just say the same thing. And mathematically speaking, like, there's going to be enough people who respond to it well. You're going to be able to get the information you need. It's going to make a difference. And what I find interesting about that is there's a difference between when someone's impromptu, off the top of the head, a bit extemporaneous, and when someone is very scripted and they need their outline or their plan or whatever it takes for them to feel comfortable. I'm Latia, and this is my YouTube. And when it comes to this topic, it's something I find fascinating because I remember chatting with someone and she was talking about how she was looking for the script and the right words to say when she goes into different situations. So instead of, I trust myself, I know I can be successful, I will connect with the right people, it is, in this environment, what do I need to do in order to be accepted? There's a very big difference between those two ways of operating, because one says, I trust myself, I'm powerful, I know whatever I need I'm gonna get, versus who do I need to be or pretend to be in order for other people to accept me and connect with me. There's subtle differences, and both may be very authentic, where you're just looking for the words that work for you naturally, or you could be putting on a face and pretending to be something that you're not because you're just looking for acceptance, approval, and connection. So what this makes me think of are very different things. So that to me was something that I hadn't heard framed in such a way because I don't know, I guess I don't have that many conversations with people about it. But I was curious, how many people do that? How many times are we looking for what other people need to call us successful versus what we need within ourselves to be successful? And this is coming up for me a lot lately because I'd like to create an event around it where it's an opportunity to practice expressing yourself, being who you are, connecting with people authentically versus doing what you think people need you to do or trying to pretend you're something you're not. And for me, at my job, that's been like the one area where I don't feel like I'm myself. And it's not that I'm not myself, but it's also that like all the feedback I keep getting, all it does is like shut me off and make me not want to be there. And it's just like, can you people stop like criticizing me constantly? It's like a lot of the feedback I've gotten, it went from being like all good to like all negative, and it's just like a shock to my system, especially because it's like, even in giving a full view, it was just like, yeah, this is the good stuff, but here's all the bad stuff that we literally just went over last week. Let me tell you what you need to do. And it's just like, I'm not a doll, I'm a human being, and I'm really tired of being constantly told the ways in which I'm messing up. I'm exhausted. I don't like going to work every day. I don't like dealing with these people. Like, I'm just in a space where I'm just like, is this really what I want? And there's only so many more months before I'm like at the year mark and I've completed like the amount of time before I don't owe them money for leaving. But it's like, it's just an interesting experience because I haven't had a space where so many people are telling me so many things about all the stuff that I'm doing wrong. And it's really annoying. Like, I already know that I just need the feedback to stop. Just stop stop. Just don't give me any more for a moment. Because, like, I'm tired. Like, besides having it at my job, I do high performance coaching. So I have a coach and we meet once a week. And in that, there's a lot of things that come up that I need to change or work on or fix. And I've also read The Power of Habit recently. So I'm basically a personal development junkie. I've done a variety of programs. I love research on it. I love looking at psychology and how the brain works. I like how psychology ties in with computer science because I do computer science. And even something as simple as a system with a slave and a master, or an agent and different events, they operate based off of principles that we see in humanity. So the slave master probably has like shifted, but those are terms in technology where there is, I don't know if it's like slave masters, probably like master workers, but there's still like a master node where all the information lies and all the instructions are sent out to the other parts. And then the worker nodes, I think is what they call them now, but whatever, details. But the worker nodes do the work. So it's about a centralization of all of the important information. In this, there is likely that the master would be a bottleneck. So sometimes you have a secondary copy of the master, but it's basically a replica depending on what system you're in, depends on how often it will be updated. But that is something that is based on models of power, and hierarchies happen in real life. You have one leader and different followers. There's distributed systems where there's still a master. Usually there's still like a centralized piece of information that's carrying out instructions just for orchestration. But there are also environments where sometimes there is no master and it's peer-to-peer and each one has copies of what it needs to do, or it's copy of the data. There's different ways that it's split. But I believe that there's a lot of ties between how we're structuring computers and how we think people operate. So with that, when it comes to being a person, I feel like we almost try to reverse engineer it and become computers who know, okay, this person is like this, that, and the other, so I need to be like this in order to win over their favor. I need to be like this to do that. And I don't usually care about what other people think. Not in a sense of like, I don't care at all, but the things that concern me aren't necessarily the concerns that I guess would be intuitive. So like if I'm out dancing at a club, I remember the first time I went to a club, I was with my dad's girlfriend's daughter and her cousin, and I was just like, if and I'd had a dream about it too, so it was just like a whole ordeal for me internally, where I was just like, I don't want to act like I'm a fast girl or some type of a hoe or be like seen in that way. Like that's not who I am, and I don't want that. So then as I'm standing there and like one of them is holding on to me as she's grinding onto a guy and getting her hair all in my face, it was just the most awkward moment ever, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, why am I here? Get me out. Oh my gosh, it was so weird. And so like it almost makes sense that like even though I love going to clubs, I also have like club anxiety, where there are like moments it takes me a second to be present and in the mood to dance and connect with people. And I also like pole dancing, so I like dancing with someone or something to manage and channel my energy versus just like free form. If I just stand in the middle of the dance floor, it's just like, oh wow, it's gonna take me a minute to warm up and let loose. So I either have to be like, I need to dance, and then I'm like, I don't care, and I just dance, and it's like, yeah. Or I find a guy and I'm like, hey strange man, wanna dance? Yeah, great. Let me just shake my buns on you a little bit, like, whoo, loosen up, and then it's like, okay, bye, you can go. I just needed that to like connect with what dancing was and like figure out my body again. But that's what I know about myself, is that I like touch. I like to channel my energy. I have lots of energy, and if I just do it on my own, there are certain things that I need to like really be in the mood, really overcome my other people consciousness, because like I'm conscious of other people, and I'm aware that any thoughts I think they're thinking about me are thoughts I'm thinking about myself that I don't want to think about myself, because I have a way that I see myself and want to show up in the world. And it's complicated, depends on the moment for what that is. But when we know how we want to see ourselves and behave, we have the opportunity to change our behavior and show up in that way instead of honoring the rules that other people give us. And that's a turning point that I'm on, where I'm thinking about what that means and looks like. And I know it doesn't mean taking every piece of feedback I receive and trying to honor it. I know I'm going to have to review the feedback, review what I need, and really just start creating like, no, this is what keeps me feeling safe and at ease. But I just felt called to share that today. I hope this was valuable and useful. We always have a choice in what we will and will not entertain and take on. It's better if we take it slow and make shifts, small shifts, one at a time, and let it integrate before we keep trying to like overwhelm ourselves and our systems. Because I know I'm overwhelmed and I'm just bland. And I hope that you share this with someone who may need it, that you subscribe, comment. What challenges have you been facing that you may need a little support in? And I wish you a great day. See you next time.